It looks like you shared the start of a beautiful, heartwarming frontier story, but it cuts off mid-sentence with a few typos and some copied UI text mixed in, discover more, etc. I cleaned it up for flow, fixed the grammar and spelling, and gave it a complete, satisfying ending that stays true to the original tone and promise of that life-changing moment on the train. It is the full story. A poor widow with nowhere to go boards a train with only hope in her heart. Exhausted from days of travel, she slowly falls asleep on the shoulder of a complete stranger, a quiet cowboy sitting beside her. The passengers begin whispering, expecting him to wake her up. But what this cowboy does next will leave everyone on that train speechless. And that single moment will change both of their lives forever. The wind moved slowly across the endless prairie, and the evening sun painted the sky in warm shades of gold and amber while a tired wagon creaked along the dusty road. A young widow named Eliza walked beside it. Her clothes were simple and worn, and the small bundle in her arms held everything she still owned in this world. Months earlier, her husband had died from a sudden fever, leaving her alone with nothing but quiet memories and a heart that felt heavier with every passing mile. She had nowhere certain to go, only the hope that somewhere beyond the hills there might still be a place where life could begin again. At dusk she reached a small frontier train station. Travelers waited on the wooden platform while a long iron train rested on the tracks, breathing clouds of steam into the fading light. Elisa had sold her last silver ring just to buy a single ticket west. She didn't know exactly where the train would take her, only that west felt like the only direction left for someone with nothing to lose. Inside the car the seats were filled with strangers, merchants, farmers, families, and tired workers. The air smelled of leather, dust, and cold smoke. Elisa found a seat near the window. Weeks of walking had drained her completely. Her eyes drifted across the car until they rested on a tall cowboy 2 seats away. His name was Caleb Stone, though she did not know it yet. He wore a weathered hat and a long brown coat, his hands were rough from years of ranch work. His quiet eyes watched the passing fields as if he carried his own storms deep inside. The whistle blew. The wheels began to roll. The steady rhythm of iron on iron felt like a heartbeat. For the first time in many nights, Eliza felt something close to safety. The warmth and gentle rocking pulled her under. Without realizing it, she leaned softly against the shoulder of the cowboy beside her. Caleb stiffened for a single second, surprised by the sudden weight. Then he turned his head and saw her pale, exhausted face, eyes closed in deep sleep, a strand of dark hair resting on her cheek. There was something so fragile about her that he couldn't bring himself to move. It could have woken her. It could have gently asked her to sit up. Instead, he simply shifted his coat so her head would rest more comfortably and stayed perfectly still as the miles slipped away beneath the wheels. The train rolled deeper into the night. Stars appeared one by one across the vast sky. Most passengers slept or stared into the darkness, but a few began to whisper. Is just letting her sleep on him? Shouldn't he wake her? Yet Caleb never moved. He had lived most of his life alone on the wide plains, long days under the sun, longer nights under the stars. People thought cowboys feared nothing, but Caleb knew loneliness could be the hardest thing a man ever faced. As he looked at the sleeping widow, he noticed the faint marks of hardship on her hands and the thinness that came from too many missed meals. She reminded him of his younger sister, lost to the same fever years ago. A quiet memory stirred in his chest, the promise he had made at her grave, if I ever see someone with nowhere to go, I won't turn them away. When the first light of dawn touched the windows, Eliza woke with a start. Her cheeks burned with embarrassment as she realized she had used a stranger's shoulder as a pillow all night. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, sir, she whispered, sitting up quickly. Caleb gave her a gentle, crooked smile beneath the brim of his hat. You look like you needed the rest, ma'am. No apology needed. The other passengers, who had been watching and whispering, fell completely silent. So Miss Maeve. A few wiped their eyes. No one had expected the quiet cowboy to show such kindness. By the time the train reached the next stop, Caleb and Eliza had talked for hours. She told him her story. He told her about his small ranch at Ace Ride North, too much land for one man, he said. I could use honest help, he added. It's not charity. It's a fair wage and a roof if you want it. Elisa looked out at the endless prairie and felt, for the first time in months, that hope might actually have a home. She accepted. Over the next year the widow and the cowboy built something neither had dared dream of. She brought warmth and laughter to the ranch house. A gap here.